Students, hello! Welcome again to an exciting educational video today. This is again Dr. Luisito Masanga at your service. Shout out and thank you very much to those students from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao who are faithfully and consistently watching my educational video. To these students, a warm round of applause to all of you. Mabuhay! Today, we are going to discuss a very important question that is usually being asked when you are applying for a job. And our educational video is about tell me about yourself. So to land that winning interview and to get that very interesting job, our learning outcomes for today, at the end of the tutorial video, students will be able to learn tips and techniques of how to approach and answer this question, tell me about yourself. Number two, at the end of the tutorial video, students will be able to understand basic concepts on how to prepare the job interview. Let us proceed. The question, tell me about yourself question. Let us try to analyze this question. What type of question is this? There are two types. First is the close-ended question. A close-ended question can be answered by yes or no. However, this tell me about yourself is an open-ended question, meaning to say it cannot be answered by yes or no. You have to explain the how and the why. That's number one. Number two, it is one of the common and tricky job interview questions. Tell me about yourself. Number three, tell me about yourself question. It's a question for the interviewer to gauge, to know, to decipher, to understand, to analyze your personality, experience, and skill set. That is why this is the usual job interview or icebreaker question that is going to be asked by the interviewer. Remember, if this is the applicant, this is the interviewer, right? AI, not artificial intelligence, but rather applicant and the interviewer. The interviewer could be initially at the stage of the preliminary interview, could be the HR generalist or HR specialist. And this question can be asked. There is a second part for the qualifying interview. And this question can then be asked for the second time. And there is a final interview. And this question might appear again and be asked during the final interview. Why? Because the interviewer wants to create an icebreaker. And to create an icebreaker, this tricky question is usually and frequently asked to the applicant. Now, there are a lot of pros and cons on how to answer this question. Tell me about yourself. Okay? Again, this question aims to help assist the interviewer to gauge your personality, experience, and skill set. Number 4. This tell me about yourself question is not about the interviewer asking you your personal life. No, no, no. They do not want to hear your personal life. So if you answer this question telling the interviewer about your personal life, there is a strong probability that you cannot get the job. They don't want about your life story. They don't want to hear about the name of your pets or, your relationship to your parents. They don't want to hear about your personal life story. They want to hear your personality, your job experience, and your skill set. So in other words, the questions that you need to ask yourself, the questions you need to prepare before that job interview, the questions you need to ponder, the questions you need to pencil push are these questions. What are you bringing to the table? What are you bringing to this company? What kind of skill set are you bringing to this company? What kind of experience are you bringing to this company? What value could you bring to the company? What problems can you solve for the company? So these are the questions that you need to pencil push, pre-planned before that actual job interview schedule. All right, let us proceed. Tell me about yourself question. All right, what are you bringing to the table? What value could you bring to the company? What problems can you solve for the company? Here's the problem. If, for example, you are just a fresh graduate, you don't have any job experience. However, you were shortlisted by a certain company. Good job to you because you were shortlisted because your resume was so comprehensive, attractive to the eye of your prospective employer. Good job for your resume writing. Now, the concern and challenges usually of fresh graduates is the job experience that they want to offer. Now, try to think of this. During your senior high school days or your college days, you were immersed with, organizational, committee or academic clubs. You have been assigned as a group leader. You have been a project leader. You have been you engage in sports competition. You were a member of an academic club. So this could be a starting point of what skill set did you learn when you were a leader before? Did you gain teamwork skills? Have you acquired organizational skills? Have you developed that complex problem skills when you were a group leader? How did you do an innovation when you were doing a project, when you were solving a problem? What types of innovative approaches did you implemented? How did you apply your creative skills when you were a group leader, a project leader, or you engage in sports competition or some academic club competition? What are your achievements? What are your strategies to beat the deadline or the target date of submission? How did you persuade and influence your members to achieve a desired result? What is the style and methodology of your collaboration skills? what were the success that you gained? So I want you guys, especially those needing to graduate, to try to develop, research, take time to think what are the skill set that you got when you were still in the academy. We know that you haven't, landed your first job. So in terms of job experience, you might be, a little bit, the probability is very small because you don't have a job experience. However, there is another side of the coin, which are the skills that you learn when you were inside the academy. So, what kind of skills are you bringing to the table for this prospective employer? What kind of skills, value you develop that you can offer the company? What problems can you solve for the company? Let's say, for example, in a group leader, your project was about environmental sustainability. So that could be a stepping stone for you to develop the skills when you were doing your environmental sustainability project. What skills did you develop? How did you influence and persuade your members? And therefore, you can tell the employer about the leadership skills, that experience, no? In order for you to get a flying color when you were defending your environmental sustainability project. Or maybe you have a qualitative interview, you tell your prospective employer what kind of skills, like for example, innovative skills. During the time of the pandemic, we were not allowed to do an in-depth interview face-to-face. We used the technology of, let's say, Zoom interview, email. These are the technologies. Now, you try to develop and cultivate those skills that you learned when you were doing your in-depth interview using the intervention of technology. So tell me about yourself are basically your experience. Since you don't have experience, this is the experience that, that you learn inside the academy, that you learn during your organizational time. You were engaged with your academic clubs or committees, when you were given, were appointed by the team members to be the team leader for this particular project, or you have a sports competition. So these are the experience that you can try to share with the employer about your skill set and experience. Again, this is communication, education, and skill set. Moving forward, one formula for you to prepare for this question, tell me about yourself, is success. The Q is what benefit you can give for the company. You talk about your success without bragging, but importantly demonstrating your skill set. And a perfect example here is a fill in the blank. I have been blank, I specialize blank, my background is blank. These are all basically the same. You can just pick one for you to start. Okay? So number one formula is success. Let us try to develop an example for this. Here's an example of an excellent response tell me about yourself, and this is about a certain applicant who is applying for a senior administrative assistant position with a clean energy company. All right? And this is a success formula. I have been working as an administrative assistant for 3 years. At my current job in the finance department of a mid-sized company, I handle scheduling, meeting, and travel planning for 4 executives and 20 staff members. I also help prepare correspondence, presentations, and reports. Period. That's it. So that could be your opening spiel for success. Like for example, I usually am being appointed as a group leader by my classmates to handle specific topics in our subject, let's say marketing research. I am a officer in a class for 2 consecutive years, and during my leadership, I was able to influence and persuade my entire classmates because I usually motivate them and congratulate them for a job well done. So those are basically examples because you cannot showcase your job experience because you were inside the academe, but it does not restrict you to explore and think of your skill set during the time that you were inside the academe studying. And that will make you different from the rest of the applicant. All right, let us proceed. After success, you try to think of your strength. And there is a fill in the blank here. My strength is, try to write what are your strengths. Good leadership, communication, you are, a negotiator, a persuader, an influencer. Your strength is, handling difficult tasks and deadlines. How does that apply to the position you are applying now? If, for example, you are applying for a bank counter staff, how does that strength related to the job that you are applying? How do you apply your success, your strength to the position you are applying for? What I am looking for is blank. So let's try to develop an example that is related to this first example of the applicant that is applying to a clean energy company. I am known for being a detail-oriented, well-organized team player. I never miss deadlines. I'm a good communicator. I can juggle multiple tasks at once. In my performance reviews, my supervisor always notes that he appreciates my professionalism and enthusiasm for the job. So that is telling your success without bragging. Now, you as a student, you have to tailor fit and custom made. What is your success? During the time that you were a project leader, you were in the sports competition, you were inside an academic club or committees, you have been an organizational leader. So, what were your successes and strength? Okay? To continue. So, always be yourself, but be your best self. Be genuine every answer you say in this job interview must be linked to your success. There is a proof. Okay? What's in it for them? What benefit you can give for the company? Guys, here's an analogy. A job applicant, you are selling yourself to the company. And in selling management, in sales management, in marketing management, you are not selling the feature of your product. You are selling the benefit of the product. What are the problems that can be solved by your product? What are opportunities that you create to improve lives of your customer? So, in this job interview, you are selling yourself to your prospective employer. What benefit are they going to get from you? You don't have any job experience, but you have a skill set. You have an experience that you gained when you were inside the academy. All right, let's proceed. Here is an example. With this experience under my belt, with this experience that I learned inside the academy, I am looking for an opportunity to take the next step in my career. I am hoping to do so in an organization like yours that works to improve the environment, which is something I am passionate about. That's your conclusion. You have completed answering the question, tell me about yourself. You were able to demonstrate your personality, your successes, your skill set, your experience. You did not mention to them your personal life story. Period. This slide is my recommendation to my viewers, no? About this question. Tell me about yourself question. This is your planning activities prior to the job interview schedule. You must write it out. You know, you have to really try to pencil push your thinking on your skill set, what were your achievements during the time that you were inside the academy, how did you execute the success, how did you implement it, solving the problem, how did you identify the root cause of the problem, what was the result of the problem. Rehearse it many, many times. And once you have already written all of these important notes, memorize it until it comes natural to you. During the job interview, don't panic or stutter. Spend some time, very important, reviewing again the title and job description of the position you are applying and researching the company. What needs to be researched for the company, especially the mission, the vision statement of the company, the core values of the company, so that the values of the company and your value should be parallel and they are not opposing each other. So tell me about yourself is be confident. Start with your credential, reason why you chose that company, your college experience, and how you can help them. Our references for this tutorial video are Dunlock and Robert Huff. Thank you very much for listening, subscribing, and liking my channel. Till next time, students, always keep safe. Thank you very much.